everyone. This is Eva Seyler, and I'm back again to answer another question. This one comes from Sue Ann Schaefer. She asks, how did you handle time in your book? What prompted you to write your scenes in the order you did? This is my book, The War in Our Hearts. It's World War I historical fiction. And I did handle time a little differently in this book. It's not completely linear. And the reason I did that was for a couple of reasons. One was to build the suspense, and another was to kind of break it up a little bit because I've got 3 timelines. I guess first I should say what inspired me to write it this way. And I just lost my paper that I had. It's actually All the Light We Cannot See. I loved the way this book was structured. So I actually went and I actually made a list of the timeline from All the Light We Cannot See, current to past, all the way down. Of course, I couldn't just do that. I had to get a little more complicated. I have 3 timelines. I have the current timeline, the war timeline, and the past timeline. So what I did was I wrote out all the chapters that I had, and I arranged them. I actually wrote them on 2 pieces of notebook paper and literally cut them apart and reassembled them. As you can see, this is kind of a mess, so that the timelines alternated. So I've got current, which is the present day, where Jamie Graham's wife Estelle comes to France to find him, finds him injured. So the current timeline is basically her being in France. The war timeline is what has been happening with her husband, Jamie Graham, in the last year-ish, while he's been in France fighting. So we've got current timeline, war timeline. Then we've got the past timeline, which is Graham's backstory. So we've got current, war, past, current, war, past, current, war, past, getting to the end of the book, and that brings all of the timelines together. And then from that point, it goes forward with no alternating because everything's been brought to the same place. So that was how I went about structuring it. I've also got very detailed timelines with information, some of which I didn't actually use, but I just wanted to have it so that I just had it if I needed it. So as far as, I think that answers the question why I structured it that way and where I got the inspiration for it. Another question from Jacqueline Van Sant. She asks, what is your favorite genre or subgenre to read? Is it the same as what you write? Generally speaking, yes. If I'm reading fiction, it is almost always historical fiction. I am obsessed with nonfiction. That's how I do most of my research. Since I do write in a historical setting, I get most of my information from nonfiction sources. But when I do read fiction, I am generally reading historical. Interestingly, even though I write for adults, I do read a lot of middle grade and YA in mostly historical fiction, but not necessarily exclusively. I will read contemporary or, whatever looks interesting. But generally speaking, I will gravitate to the historical first. So yeah, I'm a history nut, and that's pretty much where I gravitate, with few exceptions. I've been closing these videos by reading a poem from The Great War in Verse and Prose, which is a book that features in my next book, currently titled The Summer I Found Home. And character, George, his father has a copy of this book, and this is where he learns a lot of his poetry that he memorizes. So I've just been kind of going through an order of poems here. So this one is called Between Midnight and Morning. You that have faith to look with fearless eyes beyond the tragedy of a world at strife, and trust that out of night and death shall rise the dawn of ampler life. Rejoice whatever anguish rend your heart that God has given you, for a priceless dower, to live in these great times and have your part in freedom's crowning hour. That you may tell your sons who see the light, high in the heavens their heritage to take, I saw the powers of darkness put to flight, I saw the morning break. Sir Owen Seaman. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer about anything, be it related to my book, writing in general, me personally, just drop it in the comments and I will try to get to as many as I can. I'll see you next time.